Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today we are going to be making this lovely wizard's tower and we are going to be making it out of, yes, a Pringles tube. So get whatever flavour you like and buckle in because this is going to be a long one. Before we do get started though, I do just want to say a massive thank you. The last video did so much better than I ever thought it would, and I've got over 100 subscribers now, which is just absolutely crazy. So if you are one of those first 100, thanks so much. That's actually crazy to me, that 100 people want to watch me make my silly little crafts. But yeah, thank you for watching, and if you're not already subscribed, why not just subscribe and like and comment and do all the nice things, because I'm just starting out on YouTube and it would be great. Anyway, back to the build, my soppy moment completely over. So this is a Pringles tube, obviously. I ate the Pringles that are inside, sour cream and chive. They are my personal favourite flavour. And then I just went ahead and cut out the window and door holes. This was very easy. I just used an X-Acto knife. And then here I am, basically hot gluing some foam bricks onto the tube. I'm going to speed this next bit up because you don't need to watch the whole thing really. But this was actually really satisfying, and it did take me quite a long time to get all of the bricks together. In hindsight, I would have cut the bricks long ways so they were thinner, because as you'll see later, there are quite big gaps in between the bricks, and especially when painted, this is something that does stand out quite a lot. So that's definitely something I learnt from this build, but I still think it looks really cool. So obviously now I'm just taking a bit of balsa wood and just drawing around the little bit that I cut out for the door, then just staining it with Agrax Earthshade from Citadel. This is one of my favourite paints. It just gives everything such a nice wash of colour, and then just dry brushing with a little bit of paint as well. As that's sitting to dry, I just really roughly cut these little wonky triangle shapes from card. I then hot glued them to the Pringles tube lid. Now you can see where this is going. This is going to be the wizard's house's roof. What's it called? Oh, a turret, that's what it's called. Yeah, this is going to be the turret of the tower, and I basically was super haphazard and rough with this because I really wanted it to look as if, you know, it had been put together by magic. Like, it was a bit wonky and a bit doolally in places, just like wizards are themselves. So yeah, after that I just basically cut it out to the desired length, filled in a few more gaps. I wanted it to have kind of a like swooping effect, so I just basically glued some bits of cardboard underneath and on the side to make sure it had that kind of swooping effect, and I'm actually really impressed with how this turned out. I think this is a really simple, easy way to get this effect. Now obviously there are a lot of bits jutting out of this turret, so I went back in with my classic, if you watched the last video you know I love this method, PVA glue and toilet paper / kitchen roll. I think this is actually kitchen roll. This just gives such a good base, it makes it more sturdy, it's really cheap, and I just think it's one of the most brilliant inventions ever. Glue and toilet paper. Like I say, there is nothing you can't make with glue and paper. After that, I basically just cut out all these tiny little squares and glued them one by one onto the turret. This took me absolutely ages, but honestly, it was so worth it because the final effect is honestly just really good. I think the turret is one of my favourite things in this entire build, but I'll speed this bit up for you as well so you don't have to sit here for hours and watch me stick little bits of card onto another little bit of card. There you go. But yeah, so just layering them up, I basically just cut these little squares again really haphazardly because I wanted it to look like magic, and glued them on again really haphazardly, not worrying if they overlap, if they're too big, if they're too small, because I think overall it does give that really jagged magic-y effect, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Then just covering it with a layer of glue to really solidify those little slates in place. And then I took it all out and spray painted it. Now, I got a comment on my last video of someone saying that I should do a mix of Mod Podge and black paint as it makes the foam more durable and it doesn't melt away the foam, because you'll see later, I did have a lot of meltage, if that's the word. I had a lot of meltage on the bricks where the spray paint came into direct contact with the foam bricks. It melts it away a little bit. So thank you to the person who commented that on my last video. Unfortunately, I got that comment after I'd already done this, but next time I do something like this, I will definitely try that, because I think it will make for a better effect. Anyway, so after I spray painted it, as you can see there, I just went in and dry brushed it all grey. I went really heavy on the dry brushing, and here I am again, dry brushing a white on all the highlights. And it's here that you can really see what I said before about the gaps between the bricks. And I think if I'd cut the bricks in half so they weren't as jutting out-y, if that's a word, if they didn't jut out as much, then they wouldn't have that massive gap in between. But you know, every day's a school day, and we've learnt something today. Next, this was so fiddly, but honestly I think it just completely transformed the way this build looked. I basically took some little bits of balsa wood, cut them up into strips and just bent them. If you bend balsa wood against the grain, it actually will bend and stay like that very well, and it really looks good for like window ledges and stuff. So yeah, I did that and put in another bit for the window ledge. This is a game changer. I think it really, really changes the way your build looks. It is very fiddly and it does take a long time, but I do think that it is worth it if you're going to have these little mini windows. I just think it looks super cute. Right, I'm coming at you with another soppy thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who commented on my last video as well, because this like community of, you know, terrain building, Dungeons and Dragons building, diorama building is honestly so kind and wholesome, and everyone was being really kind in the comments, and like when they had a tip for me, they were like being really nice about it, and everyone's just so open to sharing tips and tricks, and it's just a brilliant community, and I'm just really thankful to be a part of it. So thank you for anyone who commented, giving me any tips. I'm always open for suggestions for tips of ways I can make my builds better. So yeah, please keep them coming. If you have any tips on ways I could have made this one better, do let me know in the comments below. So obviously after I did all the window ledges, I just painted them that Agrax Earth shade. Again, the same as the door, which you've seen there. When I glued the door in place, I did see there was a lot of light coming through, and I am going to put lights in this later on. So I just glued a bit of cardboard behind it so there wouldn't be loads of light coming out. This is cross-stitching material, and it's not just for people who cross-stitch, as one might think. Look how cool this is. Oh, I think that honestly levels up this build so much. So I'm just painting it with silver paint, and then I'm just gluing them in behind the windows, and it gives that amazing castle like bars effect, and it's the perfect size. I think these are 7mm cross-stitching squares. I don't know if that's what they call them, but I just got it from Hobbycraft. I think that entire sheet was £1. So I mean, if we're still on the topic of budget building, which, let's be honest, we're all budget building at this time, unless you're a bajillionaire, then look how cool that looks. And for so cheap, you can get loads of this stuff. Next, I just had some old fairy lights that were lying around. I'm trying to declutter my flat at the moment because we're kind of growing out of it. It's just a one-bedroom flat and there's 2 of us living here. And yeah, I'm trying to declutter. So I saw the fairy lights that weren't being used and I thought, ooh, I'll pop them in. So I did. And then I just popped on the roof. Look at that. And they work. Amazing. What do you guys think of the choice of a purple roof? I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, as you look underneath, you can kind of see the end of the Pringles can, which I just wasn't really a massive fan of. So I went in and put in loads of little bits of balsa wood. I put them really haphazardly again, so it looks like they're being held up by magic almost. But I think in the end, I kind of wish I had taken a bit more care with this step. Like, I was just really rearing to get this like project finished towards the end, and so I could have definitely made that look a bit nicer, but never mind. Again, we learn. Now for the fun part, making the base of this build. So this is going to be just on a little like grassy base with stairs going up to the front door. This is XPS foam. I got this on Amazon. Again, super cheap. It's so difficult to cut without a hot wire cutter, but I just can't bring myself to buy a hot wire cutter. Mainly because where the hell am I going to put it in my teeny tiny little flat? And second of all, it's expensive, and I just, you know, a knife works fine. Doesn't work brilliant, but it works fine. So I'm just going to use that for now. So yeah, just it's as easy as this, guys. Honestly, just cut up some bits of foam, stick them together. I made a little hole, as you can see there, in the bottom, so that the battery pack for the fairy lights can sit in there, so they're hidden away when you're using the terrain. It's like a little fairy light sandwich, if you will. I did have to cut this massive jagged hole though to get the wires through, but you can't see that when it's done, so that's fine. Just measuring it up, looking very good. And these are just some offcuts of foam. I'm just sticking them wherever my heart desires, basically. This is to give some more natural rock effects, and you'll see that once I've finished painting, it actually looks really cool. So this is one of my favourite parts of building terrain. It's just being kind of crazy and sticking things wherever you want to stick them and dealing with it later. I don't know if you guys could tell from this video and my previous one, but I am not a particularly patient person. So when I can make terrain and kind of just slap things together and you know, just think about it like that, it definitely helps. So yeah, there I was just carving some rock texture into the sides. In an ideal world, I would put spackle in between the rock, the foam wedges, so it looks like one seamless glob of rock, but I'll be honest, couldn't be asked, so it's just gonna have to look like that, but I still think it looks pretty good. You can just kind of tell that they are three different bits of rock, but that's okay. Now I'm just going in with a white dry brush to bring out all of the highlights on the rocks. Dry brushing is one of the best painting methods ever invented because A, it looks really good, and B, there isn't much effort and patience and skill and time involved. You can just go with your paintbrush, like wherever you want on the piece, and it will always look super cool. Adding a bit of flocking here and a bit of sand. With this stuff, I do kind of have the too much sheen, unfortunately, so I do end up putting too much on, but there I am, just locking it in with a spray of isopropyl alcohol and matte Mod Podge watered down. Here I am just cutting up little bits of balsa wood for the steps. So as you saw me make them earlier, like these steps are not carved in, it's just bits of stuff plonked on there really, and then I'm just adding these little bits of wood just to, you know, accentuate it a little bit more. I really think this does actually bring it together because it makes it look a bit more homey, and maybe the wizard that lives there is you know, trying to make this little plot of land in the forest his own. Again, just staining them with my favourite Agrax Earth shade. Making sure it all fits still. Thankfully it does. And then just gluing it down with a hot glue. Honestly, how much hot glue do I get through in this video? Probably, oh God, 10 sticks? Maybe even more. That's crazy, isn't it? I go through so much hot glue. Right, and my personal favourite part of the whole build is adding the flocking. This was really difficult because I was basically stripping down each little bit of of flocking. I get these vine flocks. Flocks? Who knows? And I was basically trying to glue them up the side of the tower to create this kind of vine effect, like creeping vines. Oh my goodness, they just did not want to stay there. They kept falling off, had to keep gluing them back on, but in the end, we got there. Just adding the final touches now, like the extra bits of flocking, bushes and what have you. And yeah, we're almost done. So I'm going to roll to the reveal in just a second. But before I do that, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!